Mally, we're good to go.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being with us this evening. I am calling this regular virtual hybrid council meeting to order of Monday, September 25th, 2023. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark.
Here.
Councilman Gale. Here. Councilwoman Hercules.
Present.
Councilman Hernandez. Councilman LeBron.
Here.
Councilman Mickham.
Here.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Present.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Here.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And now, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll for us? I'm sorry, could you please lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the minutes of the September 11th, 2023 meeting.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments? Any comments on the minutes of September 11th? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez. Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilman Mickham.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we consent the following items. Item 3.1, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution that will grant permission to Good Works Entertainment Group, LLC, to hold a Rain or Shine Festival in Bushnell Park on a weekend in late June of 2024. Item 3.3, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a grant of $134,500 from the Greater Hartford Transit District for operation of the city's Dollar Ride program. Item 3.6, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution authorizing the City of Hartford's Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, to accept an annual grant of $49,452 from the Connecticut State Department of Public Health. Item 3.8, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution which would approve a tentative agreement between the City of Hartford and the Hartford Municipal Employees Association, HMIA. Item 3.11, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution to accept a grant of $329,442 from the Connecticut Department of Public Health for supplemental immunization funding to provide needed vaccines to Hartford residents, including for COVID-19 and influenza. Item 4.2, Operations Management Budget and Government Accountability Committee with accompanying resolution authorizing the city to execute and deliver an agreement with wireless carriers. Item 4.5, Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee with accompanying resolution authorizing a 10-year tax abatement agreement with Saramundi Commons Limited Partnership to support affordable rental housing located at 135 Broad Street. Item 7.3, Quality of Life and Public Safety with accompanying resolution in support of continuing the work of Centron v. Vaughn.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments, any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez. Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilman Mickham.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we receive the following items. Item 3.12, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee, Communication Concerning Rental Licensing Program Update. Item 3.13, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee, Communication Concerning Accompanying Resolution Authorize this transfer of 9 city-owned properties to the Hartford Land Bank. Item 7.1, Operations Management Budget and Government Accountability Committee, Communication Concerning Establishing Yearly Mayoral Hearings on Proposed City Budget. Item 7.2, Quality of Life and Public Safety, with accompanying ordinance amending Chapter 21, Article 2 of the Municipal Code of Hartford to provide information on reports of loss or theft of firearms. Item 7.4, Health and Human Services Committee, Resolution for Health and Safety of Hartford Nail Salon Employees and Patrons.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions, any comments? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Mictum,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we receive item 4.3, which is Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee with a company resolution calling for designated areas for tractor-trailer parks. In addition to that, to withdraw this item for consideration.
Second.
So who are the makers of this item?
I am one of the makers of this item.
Okay. And who else, Councilman, just for clarification purposes?
I don't have the name in front of me. I believe Councilwoman Surgeon, I'm not sure.
I don't know who else.
If we're withdrawing an item and all parties actually agree on, you don't have to call a motion.
It is Majority Leader Clark, oh my, Mally Rosado. No, this can't be it. Item number 1. Yeah. Going back to report 23, I'm not sure now.
Madam President, it's myself, Councilwoman Surgeon, former Councilman
James
Sanchez,
Sanchez.
and Councilman
Yeah.
LeBron.
Ron.
Okay. So are you all
And
in
yourself,
all
Council
of-
President.
Yes, so I'm in agreement of withdrawing it. If all the other parties are, then we don't have to call for a motion. Am I correct? Corporation Council Lombardi?
Council President, I would go ahead and move and vote, given that one of the council members who proposed is no longer on council. I just think it's cleaner.
Okay. So a motion has been made and properly second. Without further discussion, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Point of order, Madam
Council
President.
President, I do have
Yes.
a question, if I could.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Mission, I apologize. I didn't see you.
No problem. So I guess my question is, what happened to this proposal that it is being withdrawn? Folks who are withdrawing it, why are we withdrawing it?
Madam President, may I?
You have the floor, Councilman.
Thank you. Through you, Madam President, Councilman Mitch, this was heard in the PEDH committee. It was noted that there was no, I believe, and I will yield on Councilwoman Surgeon to further talk about this, that there was not any time for development services to actually come up with a proposed area for tractor trailers to park. They had too much other things to take care of that's pressing on their list, and this was not one of the items that they were able to work on.
So is the thought simply to revisit this question later?
So it is the thought that, as you know, resolutions die with the council, and this council term ends at the end of the year. If we are able to come back, then this is something that can be revisited.
Understood. Thank you.
In conjunction with that, through you, Madam,
Sure.
also, during this time, we also beefed up the the charge for tractor trailer parking on the street, which has alleviated a lot of the issues with the tractor trailer parking on the residential street. So that was one of the concerns, was the charge for parking for X amount of hours was very small. And we passed an ordinance, increasing those charges. And that seems to be working a lot better. And also, just reiterated what,
Updates not installed.
I'm sorry? Oh. So just reiterated what Councilman Clark had said. Development Services has not come up with a plan. This has been on the agenda for going on a year now. And again, as Councilman Majority Leader Clark stated, that resolution died at the end of our term, and certainly would like to pick this up for next term, because we do still have the tractor trailer issue, even though they are not parking on the residential streets, limited amount now, but they still need some place to go and park. So that's something which, next term, should we be so successful in coming back on council, is to continue working with the development services to make sure we have some place for the tractor trailer to park.
Madam President, I just have one more question through you, if I could, before we drop
You have the
issue.
floor.
I'm just curious if this, when we come back to it, if anyone has a thought on it, wouldn't be better suited to be an ordinance than a resolution if we're trying to make durable rules about anything? I don't know if anyone's given that any thought.
Through you, Madam Chair, no, we have not given it the thought of making it an ordinance. What is most important, Councilman Mitchum, is having a location. That's what the proposed resolution required, is providing a location so the tractor trailers, can park somewhere and be safe. And the city has not been able to come up with a location which is suitable for the tractor trailers. Of course, don't forget, over in the North Meadows, there is a tractor trailer parking, which is some cost to the tractor trailers parking there. But they are also looking for additional space for them to park. Would it be an ordinance in next term? We have an ordinance in the books regarding the fees with illegally parking the trailers in the residential property. So I'm not quite sure if an ordinance, requiring the city to look for a location for a tractor trailer, parking area. I'm not sure if that was going to require an ordinance. I think it's certainly going to require a resolution again, and being more proactive, working with development services in trying to find a location, and also thinking outside the box how we may do so.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Hercules, I saw your hand up.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I would just like to emphasize the point made by Councilman Mitchum on an ordinance change and possibly development services working with the Hartford Parking Authority to establish a tractor trailer zone for parking. I do think an ordinance would be a much more robust and enforceable rule, and it also can be something that's made in conjunction with our plans for development, right? So if we're going to continue to develop the city, we certainly want that space to be made with that in mind, and not something that can be changed and altered so easily. So an ordinance may very well be the best route to take.
Through you, Madam Chair, looking forward to work with Councilman Mitchum and you, Councilman Hercules. So should we be so successful in coming back for another term, would love to work with you guys in putting together, maybe an ordinance, whatever we need to do to get this back on the books again for next year. There is zoning, through our zoning department, of where tractor trailers are allowed to park. And that is one of the issues we have had, that we need to make sure that it includes residential neighborhoods. and especially the box carts also.
Are there any further discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Mixon,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we refer the following items to the mentioned committees. Item 3.5 to the Operations Management, Budget, and Government Accountability Committee, which is Mayor Bronin with a company resolution making various end-of-year budgetary transfers for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023. Item 3.4 to the Health and Human Services Committee. Mayor Bronin with a company resolution authorizing the city's Department of Health and Human Services to accept the latest round of per capita grant funding from the State of Connecticut Department of Public Health. Item 3.2 to the Health and Human Services Committee. Mayor Bronin with a company resolution to accept a grant of $1,090,000 from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for opioid response funding. Item 3.7 to the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee. Mayor Bronin with a company resolution would authorize the amendment of a longstanding lease between the City of Hartford and the Hartford Stage Company. Item 3.10 to the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee. Mayor Bronin with a company resolution authorizing the city to revoke its loan of the ship's bill of the USS Hartford and issue to CRDA to be on display at the Connecticut Convention Center. Item 3.9 to the Public Works, Parks, Recreation, and Environment Committee. Mayor Bronin with a company resolution authorizing the city to accept a grant of $186,320 from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Recreational Trails Grant Program. Item 5.1 to the Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee, which has a public hearing on Monday, October 16th, 2023 at 7 p.m., which is Mayor Bronin with a company ordinance authorizing the use of automated traffic enforcement safety devices. And that concludes the referrals.
Second.
I'm sorry, there's one more.
Oh, I see. Committee.
Yep.
Sorry.
Item 7.5, a report from the Operations Management, Budget, and Government Accountability Committee with the company resolution requesting that the Hartford Parking Authority to provide procedures for ticketing residents in the city of Hartford to be referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments, any discussions? Councilman Gale?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. One comment about the very last item. It is my understanding that the Hartford Parking Authority, in conjunction with the Department of Public Works, is planning to roll out lots of new signage shortly, and they're going to be. I don't know that there's going to be major changes, but I think they're attempting to make more understandable the parking requirements on the days on which trash is being picked up. And I believe that the new signage, we had some inkling of this a while ago, that the new signage is going to include things like QR codes, where you'll be able to scan the sign and it will tell you what days of the week you can park on what sides of the streets, et cetera. All of which is to say that I'm hoping the Committee of the Whole meeting can occur and the Hartford Parking Authority can come and explain all of this to council before they roll it out. Since I expect that when it gets rolled out, we're going to get inundated with questions, and I, for one, would very much like to know the ins and outs of the program. So that's my comment, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. We are working with council members to try to schedule that that Committee of the Whole meeting as soon as possible. Are there any other comments? Any other discussions? Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Micdom,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we postpone the following items. Item 4.1, Public Works, Parks, Recreation, and Environment Committee. Mayor Broner with accompanying resolution confirming the appointment of Kevin Malaysia to the Golf Course Oversight Commission. Item 4.4, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee with accompanying resolution authorizing the agreement and ground lease with Andaleep Enterprises LLC. Item 6.1, the resolution ordinance by Councilman Michdom, Councilwoman Hercules, Council President Rosado, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 7, Division 2, Section 2-502 of the Municipal Code of Hartford to establish yearly mayoral hearings on the proposed city budget. Item 6.2, Council President Rosado, Councilman Gale, Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron, an ordinance amending Chapter 21, Article 2 of the Municipal Code of Hartford to provide information on the report of loss or theft of firearms. And item 6.3, an ordinance by Councilman Gale, Council President Rosado, amending Chapter 17, Article 1 of the Municipal Code of Hartford to provide information on the safe storage of firearms in Hartford.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments or discussion? Any comments or discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Micdom,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and that concludes our business for this evening. I want to wish everyone a nice evening. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.